Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another segment of Voices of Empowerment with Dr. B. I am your host, your girl, your conductor through this amazing book that we are reading, Dr. Bianca Misbelieve. And I am a licensed therapist. I am also a spiritual teacher, mentor, all of the things. And today, as we are here with every Tuesday and Sunday, I am here to read through and guide go with you through this chapter, a chapter of this amazing book that we're reading, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents, written by Isabel Wilkerson. This book, you all, is really, really, really transformative. It's really provocative. It is. It's confronting. Um, it is making us face the harsh realities that we are dealing with here. It really and truly is. It's making us see the past where it began. It's making us see where we are today, and it's highlighting for us what needs to be done in order for us to mitigate this and not have to continually live through this mess to the end. Now, I'm going to honestly say this, and I say this with all sincerity. I don't know if we will ever see that in this life. When I say see that, what am I talking about? I'm talking about unity, complete and utter unity. I don't know if we'll see that. Honestly, I don't. Our grandparents didn't see it. Our grandparents didn't see it. Our parents didn't see it. We don't see it, right? It's like it's horrible. History shows the horrific things that our ancestors went through, right? Especially when you actually study and learn. Stick with me. I promise you, we're gonna face those things. However, um, although certain facets of this discrimination and this disease called racism and segregation and all of that stuff, although it's not in the same origin, it's not in the same form, I should say, as it was when it originated back in, oh God, before 1619, before the transatlantic slave trade. It's just changed forms now, right? At first, it was the enslaved in the fields and things like that being owned by the enslavers. And then, post quote unquote freedom, it was jails, it was being locked into, you know, impoverished situations, drugs, um, alcohol. It was lack of education or lack of the ability to be educated. It was being denied loans and housing and funding and all of those things. Being denied positions that you qualify for. Being denied access to certain scholastic opportunities, academic opportunities. It's just changed formed. It's changed forms, and so um, I don't know. I do not know that it will be a day where we'll see in this life, in this iteration, where we'll see oneness again. In spirit, yes, we are all one, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand this concept, right? So we are here, right? We are here. Unfortunately, having to be mistreated and categorized and all of those things by our exterior selves, not even who we are internally. It's the exterior has been the blockage for so many centuries, my God. But and you know how I say, in order for us to grow, we got to know. We cannot heal what we refuse to reveal. So we're here to talk about it. We're here to discuss it. We're here to go through again this book, Cast, The Origins of Our Discontent. And we are on chapter 16. Okay. We are airing live on multiple platforms. We're on Clubhouse, we're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. YouTube, let's see, everywhere. And so I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for your presence, whether you're listening and active and things like that with us, or whether you're just, playing us and joining us and listening to us in audible form. I appreciate your presence here. I do appreciate you being here and sharing spaces with us at any point that you have something to say or something that I read resonates with you or it causes you to want to, give your feedback, please feel free to do so. This is a shared space, right? It's not just me talking. This is us. This is our space. This is voices of empowerment, not just one voice, right? So at any point when you have something to say, utilize the comment section, utilize the chat section. That's what it's there for. Okay, and I will give voice to your words and we will talk about it. Even if you want to come up and share it in your own words, in your own voice, let me know and I will make that happen for you, okay? But without further ado, if there is nothing else, then I'm going to go ahead and begin our chapter reading. This is chapter 16, part 4 of this amazing book. Chapter 16 with the chapter entitled Last Place Anxiety, Packed in a Flooding Basement. Last Place Anxiety, Packed in a Flooding Basement. Caste puts the richest and most powerful of the dominant castes at a remove in the penthouse of a mythical high rise, and everyone else in descending order on the floors beneath them. It consigns people in the subordinate caste to the basement, amid the flaws in the foundation and the cracks in the stonework that it appears others choose not to see. When those in the basement begin rising to the floors above them, surveillance begins. The whole building is threatened. Thus, caste can pit the basement dwellers against themselves in a flooding basement, creating an illusion, a panic even, that their only competition is one another. It can lead those down under to absorb into their identities the conditions of their entrapment and to do whatever it takes to distinguish themselves as superior to others in their group, to be the first among the lowest. The stigmatized stratify their own, wrote the anthropologist J. Laurent Matori, because no one wants to be in last place. Over the generations, they learned to rank themselves by their proximity to the random traits associated with the dominant caste. Historically, the caste system has granted privileges to some in the subordinated group with the use of a toxic tool of caste known as colorism. Among marginalized Americans, the closer they have been to the dominant caste in skin color and in hair and facial features, the higher on the scale they have generally ranked, the women in particular, and the more value attached to them, even by those whose appearance is further from the caste driven ideal. This distortion in human value is especially insidious in America, owing to the historic means by which most African Americans acquire their range in color and facial features. The rape and sexual abuse of enslaved African women at the hands of their masters and of other men in the dominant caste over the centuries. With few other outlets for control and power, people on the bottom rung may put down others of their own caste to lift themselves up in the eyes of the dominant. They may feel more deeply wounded and deprived personally when someone of their shared lower rank rises or pushes past them than when the already chosen move ahead. When someone from the already favored group moves up, it can seem preordained, in line with expectations, more easily accepted because this is how things have always been. Those in the dominant caste were above ground anyway. The rise of a favored person can seem less a commentary on you and your own deficiencies than a reflection of the way the world is. Conspicuously, outperforming one's fellows is sometimes resented, as it makes people who are already feeling inferior feel even more inferior, Matori wrote. Honor is a zero sum game with particularly intense implications for the discredited because there is so little honor to go around. Our system thrives on dissension and inequality, envy, and false rivalries that build up in a world of perceived scarcity. Hear the words perceived scarcity. As people elbow for position, the greatest tensions arise between those adjacent to one another, up and down the ladder. In India, the uppermost castes have historically at times found themselves rubbing against one another. They even quarreled over such pretty petty questions as to who should salute first. Observe Bahiroa Abakar. As to who should give way first, the Brahmins or the Kshatriyas, when the two met in the street. If there are anxieties at the top, so much more so at the bottom. The caste system has historically rewarded snitches and sellouts among the lowest castes, as with the enforcers in the concentration camps of the Third Reich, and the slave drivers on southern plantations. This was such a common device that in America there are several names for such a person, among them Uncle Tom or HNIC, short for head Negro in charge. People in the lowest caste came to resent those stooges of the caste system as much as, if not more, than they resented the dominant caste itself. Even as others in the lowest caste try to escape the basement, those left behind can tug at the ones trying to rise. Marginalized people across the world, including African Americans, call this phenomenon crabs in the barrel. Many of the slave rebellions or the latter attempts of unionizing African American laborers in the South were thwarted because of this phenomenon. People subverting those who tried to get out. The spies paid with an extra peck of privilege for forewarning the dominant caste of unrest. These behaviors unwittingly work to maintain the hierarchy that those betraying their brethren are seeking to escape. But this universal impulse may not always be caused by rank envy. A group already under siege may feel that the team just can't afford losing any member, wrote Sadipta Sarangi, an Indian specialist in the organizational management. If a certain member of a group starts climbing up by doing better in life, the sheer fear of that individual's exit pushes everyone to pull him down. Success in the American caste system requires some level of skill at decoding the pre existing order and responding to its dictates. The caste system instructs us all as to whose lives and opinions should bear the most weight and take precedence in most any encounter. One of its teachers is the criminal justice system, which descends from the criminal codes of the slavery era. There, we learn, for instance, that it is the race of the victim, rather than just the perpetrator, that is the greatest predictor of who gets the death penalty in the United States. The acclaimed legal justice advocate by Brian Stevenson observed, citing a study on death penalty cases, offenders in Georgia were 11 times more likely to get the death penalty if the victim was white than if the victim was black. These studies are replicated in every other state where studies about race and death penalty took place. The lesson teaches everyone, for instance, whose lives are considered expendable and whose are sacrosanct. It forces everyone to tithe to whatever degree to the supremacy of the ruling caste in order to flourish. Upon entry to the American caste system, immigrants learn to distance themselves from those in the basement, lest they land there themselves. Though it was the protest movements of the subordinate caste that helped open the door to non white immigrants in 1965, immigrants of color, like immigrants throughout American history, faced the dilemma of adhering to the unwritten rules of caste. They faced the painful dilemma of either rejecting the lowest caste of indigenous African Americans or making common cause with those who fought so that they could enter the country to begin with. But caste inverts the path to acceptance in America for people of African descent. Immigrants from Europe in the previous century were often quick to shed their names and drop the accents and folk sway of the old country. They played down their ethnicity to gain admission to the dominant caste. Black immigrants discover that because they look like the people consigned to the lowest caste, the caste system rewards them for doing the opposite of the Europeans. While white immigrants stand to gain status by becoming Americans, wrote the sociologist Philip Consinitz, by assimilating into the higher status group, black immigrants may actually lose social status if they lose their cultural distinctiveness. Many recent African immigrants are better educated, better traveled than many Americans, may be fluent in multiple languages, and do not wish to be demoted to the lowest caste in their adopted homeland. The caste system encourages Black immigrants to do everything they can to build distance between themselves and the subordinated caste they might be taken for. Like everyone else, they are exposed to the corrosive stereotypes of African Americans and may work to make sure that people know that they are not of that group but are Jamaican or Grenadian or Ghanaian. A Caribbean immigrant told Casinitz, "Since I've been here, I've always recognized that this is a racial country, and I've made every effort not to lose my accent." It is a clever, self perpetuating tool of the caste system to keep those at the bottom divided in a manufactured fight to avoid last place. This has led to occasional friction between people descended from Africans who arrived in America at different points in our history. Some immigrants from the Caribbean and Africa, like their predecessors from other parts of the world, may show a wariness of African Americans, warn their children not to act like African Americans or not to bring one home to date or marry. In so doing, they may fall into the trap of trying to prove not that the stereotype is false, but that they do not fit the lie. Up and down the hierarchy, Ambakar noted, each caste takes its pride and its consolation in the fact that in the scale of caste, it is above some other caste. Try as it may to entice newcomers to take sides in upholding the hierarchy, the caste system fails to reach some people. Some children of immigrants from the Caribbean, people like Eric Holder, Colin Powell, Malcolm X, Shirley Chisholm, and Stokely Carmichael, among many others, have shared in the common plight of those in the lowest caste, become advocates for justice, and transcended these divisions for the greater good. Caste helps explain the otherwise illogical phenomenon of African Americans or women or other marginalized people who manage to rise to authority only to reject or diminish their own. Caught in a system that grants them little true power or authority, they may bend to the will of the caste and put down their own if they wish to rise or to be accepted or merely to survive in the hierarchy. They learn that they may not be held accountable because of the low status of those they betray or neglect. Many cases of mistreatment of people in the lowest caste occur at the hands of those of their same caste, as in the case of Freddie Gray, who died of spinal injuries at the hands of police officers in Baltimore. Gray was handcuffed in the back of a police van, but not secured with safety belts. According to the court testimony, the van swerved and curved, knocking Gray around the cargo area. Handcuffed and unable to keep himself from crashing into interior walls of the van. Three of the officers involved were Black, including the driver of the van. This combination of factors allowed society to explain away Gray's death as surely having nothing to do with race, when in fact it was likely caste at work. All of these officers were either acquitted or had their charges dropped. It is in keeping with caste protocols that of the few officers who have been prosecuted for police brutality in recent high profile cases, a notable number of them were men of color. A Japanese American officer in Oklahoma, a Chinese American officer in New York City, and a Muslim American officer in Minneapolis. These are cases in which men of color pay the price for what upper caste men often have gotten away with. This phenomenon runs across levels of marginalization. The supervisor of the officers at the chokehold death of Eric Garner was a black woman. The people hardest on women employees can sometimes be women supervisors under pressure from and vying for the approval of male bosses in a male dominated hierarchy in which fewer women are allowed to rise. Each of these cases presents a complicated story that presumably dismisses race or sex as a factor, but one that makes perfect sense, and maybe only makes sense when seen through the lens of a caste system. The enforcers of caste come in every color, creed, and gender. One does not have to be in the dominant caste to do its bidding. In fact, the most potent instrument of the caste system is a sentinel of every wrong, whose identity forswears any accusations of discrimination and helps keep the caste system humming. Wow. That was the end of that chapter. It was a short one, but it makes perfect sense. Because I'm going to tell you something. One thing that we have all dealt with, one thing that we have all, and I wish I could, I could be more specific and not so general. But in this case, the general assessment is the true one. We have all been in a situation where one of our own tried to undercut us. One of our own tried to surpass us. One of our own threw us under the bus, as we would say. One of our own to highlight themselves, to gain the position themselves, to be the first to do this or the first to do one of our own. I'll go even further. I'll go even further. Not only one of our own, it could be your very own family member who not only looks like you, but shares DNA, shares family tree, shared everything. One of our own. All because we want to prove something. Here's another thing, and they talked about this in the book before, earlier in one of the earlier chapters about code switching. That to me is the very same thing. I remember Tabitha Brown spoke about how when she first came to Hollywood and she wanted to make herself known and all of those things, she stated how she used to, because she used to be told by so many elite people that she might want to, she might want to work on her accent, her country, because she's very, very, very Southern, and so she speaks with a country accent. And I love it, it's her. But she was told by some of the elites in Hollywood, you might want to work on your communication. She started taking speech classes and all of this stuff, rehabilitation and voice and all of this stuff, and was not feeling herself until she chose to be her. She chose to remain true to herself. And I'm so glad that she did, because that's the Tabitha Brown that has Emmys now, NAACP awards. You see what I'm saying? Multi-millionaire, her own podcast, her own perfume and cologne newly released with her husband, her own brand, her own product merchandise in Target, her own product and merchandise in Ulta and Sephora, all being her natural self. I've witnessed, even speaking of Tabitha Brown, I've witnessed other people who are also known uh, of the same, culture, same background and things like that, shade her, talk about her, try to tell people I wouldn't spend my money with her if I were you. Mind you, They also have their own business. They have their own brand and merchandise, products, and it's trying to get people to not spend with Tabitha Brown. What does the cost? What does that have to do with the cost of tea in China? What does how she does her stuff have to do with you? And who are you to tell someone else how to be and how to run and how to do? It is insane. Insane. I remember when I first started my first salon back in 2016, opened my first salon, and the previous salon owner that I used to work for and with, really, because I was a booth renter. So, but I worked at this person's salon. And when I went, enticed by her now, led by her to go into another place and start my own, when I actually did it, when I actually did it, because some people will encourage you to do it, hoping that you fail. Your own people, now we're talking about last place anxiety, right? Because they understood the caliber of work and level of work that I ran and served her salon with. Okay. So if I did it for you, I'm gonna do it for me times 10. Definitely. And did that. When I tell you, for the first 6 months or so that I was in my own business, it was so many people came to me. So many people, and mostly was her former clients, her, even a sister of hers, actually both of her sisters warned me about her. But I was told that she dogged and slandered me like nobody's business to try to keep people from coming down to my salon. Mind you, I worked faithfully promoting hers for years. And I'm telling you, I considered her sister to me. Her children called me auntie. That's how close we were. Her husband, I called him brother. Her a late brother-in-law, he was my pastor. Her twin was my first lady. They called my father Pop. You know, we were that close. So I thought, as long as I was under her, as long as she was the only one that was able to rise, all was good. The moment that I was able to branch out and go on my own, that's when all hell broke loose. That's when I was slandered. I was lied on. Oh my God. I would have never, ever, ever would have ever thought. I was so hurt and so devastated because I never would have thought that she, out of all people, would have done that. Out of all people, turned the entire former salon against me. The entire, and you know what I heard in my spirit, because one thing I'm gonna do with here is listen to spirit. One thing that I heard was, be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Be still. Be still. Listen, the Chi-Town girl in me wanted to pull up. Okay? I'm just going to tell you. I wanted to pull up so bad because I'm that type of girl that, I'm going to come up to you. I'm going to the horse. What was said? What happened? I'm that girl. Okay? Whether in family, out of family, I am that girl. All right? Because I don't bother. I don't put people in positions to have to do me like that. Right? So when it's done unwarrantedly, oh honey, oh yeah, I'm the pull up chick for sure. You better believe it. But with that, I in that situation I had to sit still. That was the hardest 6 months, 7 months I had ever lived through. Okay, in terms of social, whatever. But I did it, and sure enough, I'm talking about I didn't touch a thing, didn't make a call, didn't badmouth her, didn't do nothing. I sat still as I was instructed. I want to say not a month or so after that 6 month time period, her own salon shut down. She tried to open another one, it closed shortly after. She tried to open another one, it closed shortly after. Ever since then, has not had a successful salon. And I hate that for her because she and the team and everybody quite talented. Quite talented. I'm talking about, yes, very. I hated that for her so much. But it was her and that crab in the barrel mentality that got control of her and made her do what she did to the people who had her back. That was crazy. But we see that that's just one instance. We see that across the board. It happens far, 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 far too much in our culture. Here's the thing, we want so bad. This is why I said at the top of the segment, I don't know if we will ever see all people unified in this life, in the human iteration. Now, in spirit, sure, because we already won. The problem is there are some here in this human form that don't really realize that we are already one by the spirit. Okay, period. However, some people have forgotten, and it's okay. They'll come to their awareness soon, hopefully. But it happens far too much, y'all. In order for us to ask others in other cultures and ethnicities to give us respect, to see us, to respect us, to honor us, to not mistreat us, all of that stuff, we have to first understand how to not do those things to ourselves. I'm going to tell you straight out. Even in the Bible, there's a passage that says, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. The problem is we're so hung up on the neighbor's love that we're forgetting to love ourselves first. Because in order for us to teach other people how to love us, they have to be able to see us loving ourselves. We teach people how to love us by how they see us loving us. I'm going to say that again. We teach people how to love us, how to respect us, how to honor us, how to, right? How to, see us. We teach people how to do that by demonstrating for them how it's done, by how we treat each other. You do know that in this life, one of the reasons why you are breathing right now is to learn how to love better. Love who? Love you first, and then love others. That is one of the main objectives as to why you are living and breathing in this life at this very moment. If you have not mastered that, other things will be difficult. It will be, because that is what this life will be very difficult for you. Because nothing, and I mean no thing, operates without love. Everything was created in love, from love, as love. And you don't think you need love in order to cultivate it? Everything moves by love. The sun is shining because of love. The moon is shining because of love. The stars are twinkling because of love. Planets transit and rotate because of love. The air fills your lungs because of love. Your eyes can see because of love. Your ears can hear because of love. You can taste because of love. Your heart pumps because of love. Because of love. 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 If you do not master love, you will have a hard time. You will have a hard time. Okay? And unfortunately, other people will feel the grunt of you having a hard time because you haven't mastered love for yourself. We're supposed to love others as we love ourselves. We got to love ourselves. We got to see ourselves. We got to treat ourselves properly. We got to respect ourselves. We got to honor ourselves. We have to assist ourselves. We have to esteem ourselves. We have to adhere to ourselves. We have to serve ourselves. Ourselves. And then we have to allow ourselves to serve us. We have to. If I have something in my possession that you need, I should be willing and able to position you for a win. If I am the missing link to your greatest opportunity at life, I should be running to the opportunity to ensure that you are positioned properly. I'm going to tell you something. When I pursued my doctorate, okay, I accomplished it in 2022. I had to create a proposal to present to 12 colleagues who had already been in the arena for 20 plus years. And I had to prove to them that I am ready to enter this field as one of them. I had to prove to them why I am the next person in this field. Part of that was a request for letters of recommendation. Okay. I reached out to several people agreed. I even had some volunteers to insist to write letters of recommendation. Do you know that I would there was one situation where one person led me to believe that they were willing to do it. They insisted to do it. They did not do it. And they were actually okay with the possibility that I would miss this once in a lifetime opportunity. They single-handedly was okay with my not achieving this once in a lifetime opportunity. And all it took was their one letter, and they knew so. So them not doing it was deliberate. How do I know? Because I talked to them about it afterwards. Oh, because you better believe I'm a doctor today, so you know it got done. You better understand it. Why? Because there are some people, there are many, many people that are loving you and want to see you win and will go and move mountains to ensure that you win. Right? But I tell you what, it's some that are so close to you. Okay? What's they say, the day ones? Some of your day ones been hating on you since day one. I'm talking about my literal day one. Like literally my entry into this world day one. Okay? Listen, was going to be and was okay with being the reason why I was not going to achieve it. All because, come on now, all because if you get it first, then you know what I'm saying. It was an ego thing. So you were okay with stopping me from my pursuit that I worked hard for, by the way, just because it would have made you feel some type of way. On another occasion, that very same person, when as a family, I presented a proposition for our family to build and do something, this same one person single-handedly went to everybody who I spoke with and gave the proposition to. In my face, they were for it. but behind my back was single-handedly calling each and every person individually to tell them why they shouldn't do it. I had no idea. Once again, because I am who I am, it got done. Listen to me. Because I am who I am, it got done. It's going to always get done because it's not man that makes me do anything. It's not man that's going to see. It's not man that opens doors. It's God. It's spirit. It's the Almighty. Okay? So no one can stop what is purposed for me. I want you to hear that. No one can stop what is purposed for you. It's just unfortunate that it be your very own. We got a saying, and we say it often, and we say it jokingly most times. It's your own people. It be your own folks. And unfortunately, y'all, that I hate that this is true. It be your own people. It be your now. Don't get me wrong. Ever since that situation of those, because they're and I'm gonna tell you something with the same individual, it's been several other things, but we've since had a conversation, and I've since made a decision. Hello, somebody, because forgiveness does not mean reopening access. Hello, somebody. That means I believe you. Because Maya Angelou said it, when a person shows you who they are several times, but she says when a person shows you who they are the first time. But when they repeatedly show you who they are, at some point you must believe the words that is coming out their mouth or the actions that they are doing. We have to heal people because there's something in that individual that kept them wanting to sabotage me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. And my light threatening the fact that they may or may not have any. That's the thing. What is this? This is the chapter that we're reading. The chapter, it was entitled the anxiety. The last place anxiety, y'all. Last place anxiety. It is a fear of being in last place. And because of that fear of being in last place, individuals will try to keep you there because they fear that you're going to outrun them. That's the crazy part of it. So in order for us to ask for other people to treat us better, we got to first learn how to do that ourselves, amongst ourselves, as ourselves, for ourselves. I promise you, once we get that and we become unified, let me tell you something, because they understand, when I say they, whoever they may be, they understand the power of our collective money, the power of our collective culture and trends, because hello, we stay getting appropriated. I'm just saying. From hair to fashion to, whatever, music, stylings, whatever the case, we stay getting appropriated. So if outside cultures see us and see our value so much, because trust and believe, if they didn't see your value, you would not be under attack so often. I just want you to know this. Because if you were irrelevant, not making noise, I can guarantee you no one would care. But because you are a trendsetter by birth, you came in this world with the swag that everybody adores. They just scared to say so. Because of that, you are a threat to them. Because it's not that you did anything wrong, it's because they are not you. And unfortunately, they haven't taken the time to see who they are and appreciate their light and their shine and their gifts and their abilities, because they're just as amazing. But inferiority mindset will have them to believe otherwise. Because not only, and it's not even that they don't have it and they don't see it, it's they don't believe that they are. Because it's been there. It's always there. In everybody, it's always there. Problem is, they don't believe that they are. And when they see you in your greatness, it validates their own self talk, their own internal dialogue that they have and feel about themselves. That's the sucky part, right? It's never you. It's never been black folks. It's never been us. It's been it's been who they think they are not in comparison to us. That's what it is. That's why they're so threatened. It's never been. It's been our talent threatens their thought that they don't have any. Our style threatens their thought that they don't have any. You know what I mean? And so forth and so on. That's what we're dealing with here. All right. Nothing else. Nothing else. Is but pride and arrogance and ego will deny that 100%. Okay. 100%. So this is what I say. After reading this chapter, yes, we deserve respect. We deserve to be seen, honored, heard, validate, all of that stuff. We deserve it. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But no, and let me say and, not but, because but negates. We deserve it from others, other cultures, other ethnicities. Yes, we do. And we need to start from in-house. We need to start in-house, because there is no way that we are going to be heard in our request of other nationalities and other cultures if we're not hearing ourselves. That's the problem. I would love for us, and my sister and I were talking about this last week. I would love, or this week, I would love for us to get back to the barter system. I would love for us to come together, join together, and get back to the ways of our ancestors. When it actually took a village. And we grew with our hands. We made our own food. We built, we repaired, we healed, we taught, we raised, all of that. All of that. In our own culture. I would love to get back there. But I'm going to tell you something. One of the problems, and I mentioned this to her, one of the problems that I know we will run into is the problem with us not wanting to listen to us. Who in charge? Who told you? You ain't gonna tell me what to do. I'm running my own. I'ma do me. You do it. That is and has been our problem. So, what do you say about that? That's something that I do invite you all to have that conversation with your people. Have these conversations, folks, in your own homes. These chapters and this book is meant to be provocative. It's meant to cause a stir. It's meant to make you face stuff. It's meant to make you have this conversation. It is meant to stir you up. Get angry, get upset, get perturbed. Please get out of comfort. How about that? Get uncomfortable. Because that's the only way change happens, when you're uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable and make something shake. Talk about this stuff in your home. Talk about it in your home. Talk about it amongst your tribe. Talk about this. It's not discussed enough. In this day and time that we're in, we need to discuss. All right? Alrighty, you all, listen, if you do not have the book, you know how it goes, okay? Every piece of literature that we read here on Voices of Empowerment with Dr. B is free to you, okay? Reach out to me by way of inbox or email address or anything, website or whatever on the Clubhouse. It's right above my head. Tap the link above me. It'll take you straight there. Everyone else on all other video platforms, it is on the screen for you to go to. Visit the website. Go there. And reach out to me, become part of the newsletter. I send monthly newsletters out. They're amazing. They're definitely useful. I don't like spam. Therefore, I will never spam. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, I despise spam. So you get a once a month letter from me, okay? And that is something that I could absolutely do. All right. But I will say this, get your book. This book, I think everybody, whether you are of the brown, black, African, Indian, whatever dissension, get the book. Okay. Get the book. It is free to you. It's coming in ebook form. You will have it. I will email it to you right away. Okay. Let me know which email address you want me to send it to, and I will send it straight to you. No problem. Okay. Alrighty. Follow me on social media. You all Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere. Okay. Everywhere. Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee. Okay. It is right there on the screen. Again, Clubhouse. It is right above your head. Okay. Alrighty, you all listen. This was amazing. We will be back here on Tuesday night, reading chapter 17, entitled On the Early Fronts of Caste. Okay. As you already know, I love you. I mean it. There is absolutely positively nothing you can do about it. Don't you even try it. We'll be back here on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Voices of Empowerment with Dr.